A lot is expected in making the economy work, and we have this crop of ministers, being deployed by the president into governments, and it's expected that they churn out the numbers in order to bring about a difference. Today happens to be the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, and the theme for 2023 is decent work, social protection, and dignity for all, in order to bring about better development for the citizens. And we'll also be looking at the inflation rate, the devaluation of the Naira as a result of the challenges that we've been faced with, having huge amount of Naira pursuing a dollar, over 1,000 Naira for a dollar, and that's quite challenging. Discussing this very, very sensitive topical issues with me, starting from my extreme left, I have a renowned public affairs analyst, the convener of the Concerned Edo Citizens Forum. He is a political analyst also, in the person of Roy Oribabo. Thanks for joining, Roy.
Thank you for having me.
And next to Roy is an erudite economist, a lecturer, University of Benin, Dr. Presley Osemige. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let's quickly start with you, Roy. We have this challenge where Nigeria seems to be having it tough in terms of having the economy being stabilized. The devaluation of the Naira is a song that is being done every day. And a lot of persons are wondering, how can we get it right in terms of the policies? And we were also listening to what the IMF was also saying in terms of how the country is needed to also get some loans, from its funding organization in order to stabilize the Naira. And looking at what we have just now, too much of money being borrowed, from the World Bank, from the IMF. Do you see this working in terms of taking this huge amount of money, stabilizing the Naira from being devaluated? And of course, the monetary policies has been put in place by the government under the CBN.
Thank you, my brother. The issues on ground are quite very direct. Over the years, Nigeria have embarked on a voyage of borrowing. We have been borrowing. In the last 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, the only thing he knows how to do was about borrowing. He keep on borrowing and borrowing without regards to the people. Then you begin to ask yourself, IMF now, you're also telling Nigeria, giving us an endorsement that we can still borrow more. You ask yourself, is IMF, are they working for the interest of Nigeria? The answer is no. Until we have a government that is well focused and determined to look at the face of the International Monetary Fund and tell them that we are a sovereign nation, this is what we can do for ourselves. You are talking about Nigeria economy. It's not working. And Nigeria economy will not work with the approach and manner we are going about it. As I'm talking to you now, some persons who left the north with full stop to this part of the world have been on the road for the past 1 month. What that shows to me that these goods, some of their goods, these are perishable goods, and those goods are gone. How do you reconcile with the economy? How will the economy work in that direction? And we were talking immediately, this president administration came on board. One of those things that need to be bothered is to immediately fix our roads. Because the kind of economy we run in Nigeria is an economy that you cannot really measure it to that level. Because we don't have the data. Without data, you cannot plan for the people. Therefore, we run an economy I usually refer to as personalized economy, where you have to drive your process, I drive my process. And that is the kind of to get a solution to that, one, the Nigerian government should to be bothered about our road infrastructure. How do we make sure that the road network is working? So that those who go to farm today, what they are bringing out, they will have a projection that you are planting. In another 4 months, you are harvesting. They are taking it to the market. Yes, you are taking it to the market. You will also be very sure that you are making a profit. What happened to a farmer who is back on farming? At the end of the day, you cannot take your produce to the appropriate place. Will the economy work? No. And this is the reason why I will continue to be attacking the IMF, because I don't know their direction about this country, about Nigeria. And Nigeria leaders keep on listening to them, to the detriment of we the Nigerians. How do you open your way and keep on telling Nigerians that they should call for borrowing because our Naira is under pressure? Since I was born, Nigerian Naira have always been under pressure. And they keep on borrowing, and there's no solution. By now, What do we need the radical thinker. We must think from what we are used to. And that's the reason why the party in power, we must continue to interrogate the party in power. PDP was there as a party in power for 16 years. You can look at their economic blueprints. They were not there, but the people on ground can feed their economic blueprint. Immediately the Progressive Party came on board. What is their economic blueprint? There is nothing to show for it. Some of their policy become it's antagonistic of the people of Nigeria. The kind of policy formulation in terms of economic ideology, there's nothing to show for it. And I'm beginning to question what kind of a political party is it that does not even believe in the welfare of the people. We must interrogate all this process. So, because the last 8 years of President Muhammad Buhari was a show in terms of economic management. There was not anybody could celebrate. There was no rate was totally abandoned. And these are things that fast-track the economy of this country.
Okay, you made mention of the borrowing not really right. But are you rather saying that, because a lot of persons have said, experts have also said that it's not wrong to borrow, but what you borrow, what you do with what you have borrowed is another issue. Are you rather saying that maybe the leadership isn't using what has been borrowed rightly?
I said in one of these programs that Nigeria is borrowed to steal. Some countries are borrowed to develop their infrastructure. We are borrowing money to steal. We borrow and the money is diverted. How do you borrow money to pay staffs? You are borrowing money, you are using it to just make soup. People are eating it every day. Let me take it to that level so that you know the impact of it. You borrow money, you invest it on infrastructures. As I'm talking to you now, the last 8 years of President Muhammad Buhari, is there any infrastructure that he invested the money he borrowed? Up across the globe, there's nothing wrong with borrowing money. I don't have any, but the utilization of the funds you borrowed is an issue of concern to all of us. We must begin to But
don't forget that there has been the construction rehabilitation of the second Niger bridge. Don't forget a lot has been said in that direction. And even in the intervention programs as initiated by the past administration, just to get it right.
These things you are talking about, these are not spiritual things. If there are interventions, the people on the streets must feel the impact of the intervention from the government. Government cannot continue to tell us that there are interventions. We are living in this country and we know what is going on. A country, an economy that is powered by generator, how is it going to work? Have you seen across the globe that the economy is powered by generator? You are still telling me about the intervention. What are you intervening? Building second Niger. What is so special about that? People are not going to the moon as of today. People are going to the moon to spend their weekend. Nigeria is still talking on how to just use asphalt to patch a road. That is the celebration you are talking about.
But that is the developing nation.
That is the intervention you are talking about. We are a developing nation. We are a developing nation. Are we developing at the pace we are supposed to be developing? A country of over 63 years, you are telling us a developing nation. After 63 years, you are still talking we are a developing nation. Where we don't even have a foundation on ground. What we naturally expect by now, let there be a foundation on ground for Nigeria. There is no foundation. That's my fear about this country. And that's the reason why I'm looking at this country with the greatest fear. That because there is no foundation, you cannot build on nothing and you expect it to stand. Okay. We need the economic policy by way of foundation. The society government will continue to build on it. What is on ground? You record in the last administration about 43 items was restricted. Now the government is now no restriction again. This is the same political party. You now ask yourself, what kind of ideology are they bringing to bear to manage the affair of Nigeria? What are they doing about the Nigeria economy? Because we celebrated him. I think it was celebrated about 8 years ago when all these 43 items. We say yes, it's a good policy. How does the government were celebrating it as of today? The same party say no, we cannot continue like this. My brother, why are we using Nigeria as now a trial and error basis? Okay, we continue to experiment.
I think we've heard from your perspective. Now let's look at the economic perspective. We also get learnings from what the Minister of Economy said while here doing. He may mention the fact that there are a lot of initiatives being deployed by virtue of his ministry, and what is bringing on board in a year will translate to about $1 trillion into the GDP. Now, how does that work? And how do you see this number in terms of the $1 trillion being churned in 1 year into the GDP for Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Philip, once again for having me. I think first, no doubt, Nigeria economy is failing, and there are a lot of indices to show for that. If you look at the life of the people, I mean the common man in the street, reflection of the economy on that particular person. You observe that poverty over time through this period has been deepened, given the fact that people can actually have, access to food, 3 times a day. Now, what the minister said, the coordinating minister of the economy said, is basically a policy statement, that has the potential of trying to, stimulate, the economy. But my fear and worry is this achievable? Can they achieve this? Now let's come to the issue of...
If it's not achievable, would he have been saying that?
Over time, we have... These are mere political statements. They are politicians. They know what to say in a particular time. Just to, give a beautiful coloration, to the issue on ground. When they wound, the doctor will just, cover it up. The wood is inside.
Okay, but what you seem to say, or what you seem to suggest, is that there seems not to be any headway in terms of getting the numbers right as by improving on the country's GDP.
Like the issue of borrowing to sustain, the value of the Naira.
Okay.
Like, I have a problem with borrowing to finance, devaluation or depreciation of the Naira. But this also has its own, complexity and concentration, especially with regards to risk. The issue is this: if you borrow to strengthen your local currency, is allowed. That's it's
allowed.
It's allowed, yeah.
If you borrow to strengthen your local currency.
But like I said, it has a lot of complexity and it comes with a lot of risk. But I doubt if Nigeria economy can actually, undo and manage this risk.
Okay, so you seem to differ from what he said about the IMF advising Nigeria to borrow if it's taking that option. You seem to differ, so which means borrowing from the fund organization to stabilize the Naira, if it's properly done, could yield results for Nigeria.
Exactly, I love the word, properly done. No, like I said, all over the world, country borrows to strengthen, their domestic currency. It's allowed, like I said, but it has a lot of complexity and risk. Number one, what we call, mismatch, of the currency. Normally, if you borrowed a stable currency, for example, like the dollar, and you want to strengthen, our local currency like Naira. But my fear, my worries is about how effectively will the monetary authority manage this borrowing, this money that has been borrowed. Normally,
okay, if it's supposed to strengthen, how is it going to be implemented?
Yes,
how is it going to be used to bring about this of the Naira?
I'm going there. Okay. It's supposed to strengthen our, national reserve, foreign reserve, normally. And no, the national foreign reserve is actually an image, to outsiders, especially particularly reference to investors, who say, the national economy, internal reserve have been strengthened. And again, don't forget that the foreign reserve is also going a long way to strengthen and deepen the foreign exchange market. A lot of investors say, Nigeria have a stable and sustainable, foreign reserve. That in case if there's an economic shock, they can easily fall back, to, salvage, the shock, that will arise maybe in a particular short term. Let's not forget, I will state this categorically, that borrowing to finance, devaluation or depreciation is a short-term measure, a long-term. What Nigeria should be considering is a long-term sustainable measure, to strengthen Naira, not just to borrow to say, okay, let me finance, depreciation.
Okay, but there's also the risk, the alarming rate at which we are having the Naira increasingly, over, as in being devaluated before the face of the dollar. Does it not bring room for the government to take this as an exigency to quickly stabilize the currency?
Normally,
as a short-term plan.
Yeah, normally we have depreciation, we have devaluation. These are two terms, different. Okay. Depreciation is a natural process. This is as a result of market dynamics, the forces of demand and supply. Devaluation is a deliberate intervention by government. They will just come and announce that, we devalue the currency. And these are supposed to be specific, to achieve a specific goals. For example, if you want to strengthen your export, again, if you want to attract foreign direct investment, they must be specific. Not just, like I said, it's a short-term, actions that must put in place, but not a long term. Okay. Nigeria will find a lasting solution to address the issue of the free fall of the naira. Like as of today, I think it's over 1,000 naira, and no investor ordinarily would want to invest when there's a free fall of the naira. They will not be attractive. But normally when the domestic currency is being devalued, it's able to attract investors, but there are other factors that must be considered. For instance, you must consider what I personally refer as structural reforms in the economy. Like my brother Indeed mentioned, let's look at the critical infrastructure in the economy today. Will they actually attract the way Nigeria is today? Like I said, it's failing. Will they actually attract investors to the Nigeria economy? The answer is no. Look at the roads. The roads are bad. There's no power. There's no constant electricity. And again, what we call political stability in Nigeria, though we are in democracy, political instability or stability is not just about democracy. We also look at it in regards to the rule of law. The government in power, will they respect the rule of law? Will they respect the position of law? And again, how the process of how the government in power comes into process is also questionable. Were the process free and fair? With regards to election now. Now these are the indices that people normally look up for to say, oh, okay, let me come to Nigeria to invest. And all of this has an indirect impact to the free flow or devaluation of the naira. Like I said, all of these contribute because no investor will want to come into an economy that is not stable, economy where there's no assurances, an economy where, like I said, there's no power, there's a lot of critical infrastructure that's not in place. The roads are bad, over 600 roads, federal roads, including states. They're all bad. So you can imagine a foreigner coming to say, oh, let me come and invest. Okay. So these are very critical.
I'll come back to you as we x-ray the CBN monetary policies under the leadership of Cardoso. Let's go to you, Roy, and let's expand what has been said by the president. The president has severally engaged Nigerians on the need for trust in its leadership, most especially as regards what he said that Nigeria should give him 1 year, to churn out a template that will bring about an increase in economic growth. He spoke about the intervention funds for recapitalization, for entrepreneurs, for the manufacturing sector. He spoke about even the small-scale medium enterprises, how to inject funds into that direction, and even the power sector, how to also inject funds to make sure that within 1 year, we're going to be seeing results in positive. What do you see about all of this? Because a lot has been said that there should be time given to the management, to the administration under President Tinubu to really churn these numbers in the positive, as he said.
Those are just policy statements. As far as concerned, those are political statements. They have no bearing. Waiting for 1 year.
If you say they have no bearing, it seems you have some sentiments.
It's not. I'm talking based on records. APC came to power 8 years ago under Buhari, and they told us that we should wait. This is what they are going to do to the Nigerian economy.
But don't you think this could be a turnaround?
Now we have to interrogate what is the mission statement of APC as a political party. Don't be scared. We have to interrogate them. What is your mission statement? What is the hope you have for Nigeria? Does Nigeria need to believe in you? The president must step up his thinking ability and his also working ability so that trust cannot just come. He must work towards it. Now, the president is telling us that after more years, things will work. And I keep on telling people, there was a fundamental error that was made by this president. On the day he was showing, when he said subsidy is gone.
It's been a regular song.
Yes, subsidy is gone. But you don't run a country like that.
But we could be getting it right. We could be getting it right.
That is where we are. It will take us another, I did the research, it will take us another 50 years to get back from that simple language. Subsidy is down. You know the implication of that? You don't run an economy like that. You don't run a nation economy like that because president is president, this part of the world, is stronger than many institutions. His word is very powerful. Therefore, when you made a statement like that, without a critical evaluation, This is a kind of things that happen.
Okay, but do you agree? But do you agree that the country we've been running a deficit budget for several years?
Listen,
and do you also agree that the huge, humongous amount of money pursuing subsidy regime has taken a whole lot of money that would have been used for investment? Are you not thinking in that direction?
You are not getting the whole issue. I'm not telling you that removal of subsidy is a crime. I have never subscribed to that. But there was a policy statement to drive the process of how we are going to remove our subsidy. And the last government was working towards that. And Nigerians were preparing towards it. You understand me? Therefore, everybody do their projection around, we have a month to go. You cannot just wake up and you just make a pronouncement. Immediately he made a pronouncement. Do you know what happened to Nigeria, Naira? It collapsed. And that's the reason why we are still struggling today. It's telling you about intervention. Do you know, if you take your time now, I tell people, at the end of the day, what the Nigerian government will be spending for palliative will not be more than the subsidy you are talking about. Do you know why? Because the Nigerian economy is not a regulated economy.
But don't forget the palliative is just for a short while.
Listen, the short while you are talking about, it will continue to reoccur. We continue to don't run away from that. That is the fact of ground, the reality. The subsidy will continue because by the time you see the living standard of the people, you will want to come with palliatives again. You understand? There is no way anywhere in the world where this kind of methodology was utilized and the country celebrates it. Nigeria cannot be talking dwelling in isolation. We must look at it holistically. You are telling you want to inject some much form into the micro, the medium,
medium scale enterprises.
Yes. Now, what kind of economy are they not going to run? This economy, as you are giving me, if I run some kind of organization, an outfit, you are giving me some intervention fund, and I'm spending it to power my day. But you are not doing me any favor. It will not work. It will not work because definitely it's just like you are collecting from Peter. You want to use it to pay Paul. That is the kind of economy we are running now, and it will never work until we look at it in total. And nobody is talking on how do we work indigenously to strengthen our Naira.
Okay.
We all believe that strengthening our Naira is to borrow. By the time we borrow dollar, it will strengthen our Naira. I am not an economist. But based on my native intelligence, I can confidently tell the Nigerian government that to borrow the dollars to strengthen the Naira will not work. As he said, devaluation is a deliberate policy from the government. It will not work. What will work is, first of all, what are we bringing to the table in terms of Nigeria? What are the things we are producing in this country? Nigeria refinery as of today, is it working? The answer is no. And you know what drives the economy of Nigeria is that petroleum product. Half of people in those states, they rely on generator, those who have the resources to buy it, so that they can power their business. By the time the refinery is not working, you see any money you are injecting into the economy will not go anywhere. We must look at the foundation. What are the foundations? Let the economy, let the refinery work. The road networks, let it work. You cannot, people are importing fuel. They will ship it to Lagos. And the motor, the truck that will bring it down will not be able to access the nearby state as a result of bad roads. You are telling me economy will work? It will not work. It will not work. We must holistically look at the issues. What are the issues? The issues are very direct. These are not rocket science. So run economy is not a rocket science.
Okay.
Now, we invest on food production. You agree with me that the cost of food is on the sky. Do you know why? It also goes to show you that the road, because of the road network.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
2 days ago, my friend who was on his way to Abuja, he sent me a video on the numbers of trucks who were carrying food from the north to this part of the world. They all perished there. Now, how can the economy work? How much are you not going to inject into that farm? Any money you are giving to that farmer, they will use it to go and pay the debt, not to plan ahead. These are the issues. You don't need to be, because when you talk about the president, the minister of economy, the coordinating, they are talking on those. He was reading out Adam Smith's theory of economy, which is no longer attainable in this part of the world. This is 21st century. This is Nigeria. You cannot be telling me the theory that the man provided because the world is not dynamic. It's evolving. We must look for an indigenous method to arrest what is going on to our economy.
Okay.
Not for you to be quoting the theory of yesteryear. They will not take us
we can't tell if that was what he quoted anyways.
My brother, I am telling you,
I must say that's your opinion anyway, and not the opinion of
it's my opinion.
Okay, now let's test the monetary policies. Let's test the strength of the CBN under the leadership of Kodoso, and all of what he has said he will be bringing to board in terms of making the narrative change. What do you see him projecting that could make things work in these fiscal policies?
Okay, let's not forget that the monetary policy does not work in isolation. So it actually requires other, policies, coordination, like, the fiscal, policy, the trade policy, and other intervention, like I mentioned before, structural reform, which are very critical. Now, let's come back to the monetary policy. Normally, when there is excess liquidity in the economy, you can use monetary policy, to mop up this liquidity with the aim of stabilizing prices across board to reduce inflation. And it can also be used to target, exchange rate, stability. Now, what the present or the current, CBN governor, the direction with which, especially the body language. But my problem I have is how independent are they truly? That's number one. For example, the CBN governor may have a genuine and deliberate policy that will actually benefit the economy. But let's look at the counterpart, the fiscal discipline. Is it there? Are there structural critical reforms? Because all of these must be comprehensively coordinated to have a lasting impact in the economy, not just to make a policy statement. And again, for how long are you going to increase interest rates? Although increasing interest rates to make investment attractive to Nigeria. But how many investors, like I did mention, will actually come, even if you increase interest rate today to, let's say, maybe 26 or even 30%? Oh, fantastic, very attractive. But the question is, the other critical factor that must be considered, not just only the interest rate aspect. People will look at, other aspects of the economy. In Nigeria, if I do business in Nigeria, can I actually make profit? Okay, let's all of these are very important. Again, let's not forget the issue of insecurity. All of these are, issues that the president, like I said, the monetary policy aspect, in conjunction with the fiscal aspect, and other policies must, fine-tune to achieve, a critical direction.
Let's look at the effort of this administration in taking the decision to halt the foreign exchange ban, on rice, poultry products, and about 40 other items.
43 items.
Now, yes. Now, all of these lift of the ban on what has been on for 8 years. Do you see this as counting numbers in the positive that will also strengthen our monetary policy?
Yes, Mr. Philip. In the first instance, the ban was, I think that's 2015. Was initiated with the view of strengthening the Naira. But however, if it was there for the past 8 years, did it actually achieve the goal, the purpose? The answer is no, it did not.
Or did it optimally achieve the purpose?
No, it did not. Without optimal or what? But it did achieve the specific purpose for which it was actually designed to address. The answer is no. But now, I love the fact that the courage of the current CBN to lift those bans. Because some manufacturers, let me not make reference, let me not mention them now, because I'm on national television. They've been undoing the economy with the intention of saying, issues or items that were not on that list, they will say, okay, I'll free from M. For example, if you are to import commodities from abroad, they all call from M that you must free. Now from M, give the specific consignment in terms of what you are bringing to the to economy. Countries, because of the porousness of our borders, especially the issue of corruption among immigration and the rest, customs specifically, you see that items that are specifically supposed to be imported into Nigeria, items that were giving intervention for in terms of, the currency foreign exchange, intervention will not be found on the list. What you'll be seeing are those items that over time will be banned. For example, toothpick that was not on that list that will be banned. You see them bringing in because why? Somebody can easily take kickbacks, and again, all this start coming to the economy. Now, the items have been lifted. Let's allow.
Is it the right step?
Yes, the right direction. Let's allow. Like I am an economist. I believe in welfare. Now, how do you maximize the welfare of the ordinary man in the street?
But again, why you are saying that? How are we also going to tackle improving on the capacity of our local products?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. If I want to improve on the capacity of local products, first, let the economy feast on critical, important, infrastructures and assets. Like you said, talk about borrowing money to medium and small scale or whatever. Do you know there's also political dimension to this?
Definitely.
I can give you an example. Some persons who the real, investors or the real people that can actually benefit and invest this money, we don't even get the money. People who got the money were used for a political settlement. And again, they are not actually investing the money in the economy. But rather, they, like you said, for those who truly got the money, they use the money to pay debt. Not just the fact that the roads are bad. Let's also consider the economic waste on a daily basis. Have you applied these, logo houses? You see the waste, economic waste over there. Let's look at Edo State and Kogi State road. If you are traveling to Abuja, do you know the economic waste on a daily basis? Truck will fall. These are money. There are a lot of money. Money will borrow, to engage in this business. And again, as you know, in Nigeria, a lot of people don't even go into what we call insurance to insure their product. These are economic wastes. Now, who's going to pay back this money to the people? People at the end of the day, like I said, the government must sit their ass down and fix this critical infrastructure. There must be a deliberate structural reform of the economy. I expect when the president came about to say, before now, like if the president was actually prepared, to govern, to lead Nigeria, by now, the president would have elected some critical aspect that need to be fixed. Like if I'm into position today,
but if you have always seen him when he was engaging the press, and even what he has said in the direction of bringing fusion to improving on the economy, he has always said.
He said a renewal. What's renewal? Like my brother said before now.
But the template that he deployed in terms of 1 year, achievement that he intends to make in the area of the manufacturing sector, and even suspension of some taxes and excise duties. Are all of these not economically right steps and viable objectives?
How much is the price of diesel as of today? You want to fix the economy and you want to encourage manufacturer. Okay,
let's look at the production of our indigenous products.
Good.
Like rice, for instance.
Yeah, I was coming there.
Because local production of rice, it baffles that even as of today, a bag is being sold over 50,000 naira.
Exactly.
So as compared to the imported. Now, what do you think is really the challenge, and how do we stable this?
Now, over time, the past administration tried to intervene through these farmer, intervention they were calling for. And the president even said, either we eat what we grow, or let the people perish. Imagine that kind of statement coming from, the head, so to say. First, as an economist, I believe so much in the improvement in the welfare of the individual. Fundamental mistakes have been made. Nigeria is well over 200 million, population. Now, there's what we call serious food insecurity in the economy. And at those food insecurity, how possible and how can the local farmer actually, provide, food to feed fresh, to feed Nigerians on ground, again, actually produce, to export.
Okay.
Let us forget the issue of insecurity, the farmer elder classes. All of these are acting the possibility of the impact of the productivity from the local, farmer. What I expected was liberalize the economy, allow a free flow, and again, try to intervene genuinely, by identifying with genuine farmers that can actually, use the intervention for the specific purpose for which it was given.
Okay, let's get your take on that in terms of how to get it right, looking at raising the agrarian society and even the price of local rice as compared to foreign. I think you have to take a bite on that
of course,
in the next 1 minute.
Getting it right is very good for us. We must get it right as a country. One, we must encourage our local production, because today the cost of production is also very high.
Very, very.
You know, these are the issues that are even that is what's shooting our inflation. Because before you are going to calculate your cost of production before you take it to the market, and on the strength of that, inflation must follow. What we need Nigerian government to do, what are those things that are there? The factors of production must be considered. You look at the road network, you fix it. These are critical factors, you fix it. You go to the insecurity, because people can no longer go to farm. You address the issue of insecurity.
That's quite a challenge.
Yes, when you address that issue, then you look at the refinery. I said, this refinery must work. How come Nigeria refinery is not working? Okay. Because if Nigeria refinery is working, the pressure on Naira will drastically reduce.
All right, thank you very much.
The source for forest will be reduced.
Thank you very much, Rory Babo, for taking our time to be part of this, and big thanks to you also, Osemenge, for taking our time. Presley, Osemenge, for taking the time to be that.